Coming up on District Directions, we will be having Dr. Dick Schiller in his transition update, Connie Blaney in her district update, Rex Suba will be joining us with his Pinpoint show, and a segment on middle school education.
Hi, and welcome to District Directions. I'm Amanda Patterson, and this is my associate, Lawrence Bothwell.
Hi. As most of you viewers already know, the city of Norman is about to go through a very big change.
That it is. In fact, the entire city is going to divide.
You're probably saying right now, get to the point, and so I will. Next year, 1997 through 98, the school, as we know it here at Norman High, will be split into two. Norman High, as it is now, and Norman High North.
But right now, thanks to Dr. Dick Schiller, we will be seeing the construction going on here at Norman High School. Let's take a look.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us on Transition Updates. Tonight we'll be visiting a construction project at Norman High School. As you can see when you drive down Main Street, we're building a major addition to the science building at Norman High. With me tonight I have Mr. Bill Kane, the architect of the project from Kane Associates Architects. Hi, Bill.
Dick, how are you?
Doing fine. What are we trying to accomplish with this addition, Bill, to the science building?
Dick, the goal is the addition and then future projects to renovate the existing building to provide 13 science classrooms and some supplementary facilities in this building to house the science programs when this becomes a four-year high school.
And that will be next August.
Fall of next year, yes.
Which we're very anxious to have happen.
Yes.
Okay, Bill, have you got some drawings here we can look at?
We brought a floor plan of the addition and first phase of the renovation in the existing building. The project includes, the addition includes 6 science classrooms. These are all basically a very similar plan. There are 4 prep rooms, science prep rooms, located so in all cases but one, 2 science classrooms will share a prep room between them. The rooms are planned basically for 24 students. There are 6 student lab tables, a demo table, and then an area in the center for student tables for lectures. The finishes are vinyl tile around the science lab tables and carpeting in the lecture area.
Any other areas in it? You're going to have restroom, that kind of stuff?
Yes. The restrooms in the existing building will be removed in the renovation projects, and 2 new restrooms constructed in this addition which comply with all the ADA requirements.
Good. So for accessibility?
Their accessibility.
Very good. Okay, Bill, could we go out and visit that new building? I know it's not done yet. It's certainly in a state of construction. Won't be done until...
It's scheduled for completion November the 25th.
25th. So that's, what, a good couple of months out just about. And but that still, nonetheless, will give us a chance to see how the progress is and what...
If you're willing to step over a 2x4.
Sounds great. Let's go out and take a look at it.
Great.
We are out at the new construction site. It sets behind us here. Why don't you describe a little bit about where the old building is, and where the new building starts, the new addition?
Directly behind us is the south end of the existing building, and of course that's planned to be renovated in 2 phases over the next several years. And the taller section is the beginning of the new addition, and that's under construction, scheduled for completion in November.
Is this right, Bill, where the pipe is back there in the corner is where from there on south
That
is the
gas
building.
pipe separates the buildings. Dick, we're standing in the main corridor. There are classrooms located that open onto each side of this corridor. At this point in the construction, the ductwork is obvious, suspended from the steel bar joist. The contractor is just installing drywall, sheetrock, on the corridor partitions. The sound insulation and sound bats in the partitions. The project is in the dry at this point. The roofing is complete, and interior finish work beginning to start.
All right, and we have 6 classrooms in the building, and
We might walk into one of these
Let's take a look.
classrooms, and you can see it in the unfinished state.
anyone can see a room once it's finished, but I think it's kind of interesting to see them while the construction is going on.
It is interesting. You see, the partitions separating classrooms are constructed of metal studs, drywall, and sound bat insulation to provide acoustical privacy between the rooms. And you'll notice the wood blocking in place, which denotes the location of science wall cabinets, which will be installed later.
Okay.
The plumbing lines are in, the utilities that connect to the student tables, lab tables, and demonstration tables are being put into place at this point.
Bill, is it correct the cabinetry, the countertops, and lab stations are on this October's bond issue
Yes.
for this addition,
Yes.
right?
This building, the contractor will complete this building with all interior finishes complete, and then we're taking bids and hope to award a contract for the science casework at the December board meeting.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
2 science classrooms share this room.
And it looks like there's a reach through here into both rooms from this area?
There's a pass-through from the science prep room into each classroom. The recesses shown that you'll see there are for the fume hoods, which fume hood will be installed in each science classroom. There's a fairly complex ventilation system installed in the room, and you begin to see the ductwork for that in the classrooms.
About how many square feet in the science rooms off the top of your head?
1,300.
About 1,300, That's a good-sized room.
We're at an intersection of the 2 corridors. This corridor, when completed, will access the existing building and of course link the entire science complex.
Very good, okay. So we're facing
north the existing building.
Okay, all right. Restrooms are definitely in construction at this
Yeah.
point.
This is, you might note the construction, it's all masonry. The construction will be terrazzo finish on the floors and base, and all the partitions, toilet partitions as well as the walls will be covered with ceramic tile.
It'd be easier certainly to maintain.
The maintenance should be very maintenance free.
And you've got some ADA accessibility built into these?
Yes, these are ADA accessible. There are 2 wash fountains located opposite the plumbing fixtures in these locations.
Okay. Well, that winds up our tour of the new construction going on at Norman High School. You can watch us grow as you come down Main Street. And we'll be back again next month with another program for Transition Updates. Thank you for joining us.
All right. The Board of Education has been doing a lot of things, like award giving, conferences, discussing the bond election and approving it. And they've been helping with the construction of the new high schools.
So, here to tell us all about the goings-on of the meeting is Miss Connie Blaney with her district update.
The Board of Education for Norman Public Schools held its regular school board meeting this month on October 21st at 7 p.m. in the Administrative Services Center. The meeting opened with Norman High's National Merit semifinalists, National Merit Commended students, and a National Merit Hispanic Scholar being recognized at the meeting for their academic honors. The district had 14 semifinalists, 14 commended students, and one student that was a National Hispanic Scholar finalist. The board congratulated all these students and presented them with certificates. Christine Hefner, Eisenhower Elementary Library Media Specialist, is this year's recipient of the state's Polly Clark Award for Outstanding Library Media Services by the Oklahoma Association of School Library Media Specialists. Ms. Hefner was recognized with a certificate at the meeting. She received her award at a recent Encyclomedia conference. A proclamation was presented by Rex Suva, Penn President, in celebration of the upcoming American Education Week, which is scheduled for November 17th through 23rd. The board signed the proclamation declaring Norman Public Schools observance in this very important week. The following items on the consent agenda were approved or accepted: purchase orders, minutes, purchase requests, financial reports, personnel, fundraising events, and an easement for the City of Norman for sanitary sewer project. Don Stone, board member, was not in attendance at the meeting. Tom Clote Jr., president of the board, announced that she is taking a temporary leave of absence. An update report on the activities of the Citizens Advisory Council was given by Larry Willoughby, chairman of the Citizens Advisory Council. Public hearings are planned, and this will be the final public hearings on November 12th at 7 p.m. at Whittier and on November 14th at 7 p.m. at Irving and the two future middle school sites, presently Central Mid-High, which will be Longfellow, and West Mid-High, which will be Alcott. The hearings are planned to seek public input on the district's transfer policy. Parents, students, and employees are encouraged to attend one of these hearings. Design development phase drawings for the cafeteria renovation and addition at Central Mid-High, which will be the future Longfellow Middle School, were presented by the architectural firm of Kane Associates. The board approved the plans and authorized proceedings with the construction documents phase. Schematic design phase drawings were also presented by architect Bill Kane for the installation of fire hydrants at Norman High School and for the renovation of the west side of the existing science building at Norman High School. The board authorized the firm to proceed with the construction documents phase for the fire hydrants. The board also reviewed the schematic design phase of the science building and authorized Kane Associates to proceed with the design development phase of the project. The bid phase for the science laboratory casework and fume hoods for the science building at Norman High was presented to the board by architect Bill Kane. A resolution was also presented to extend the length of time from 30 days to a maximum of 45 days until a time a contract can be awarded. The board approved the resolution, which only applies to the bids for the science casework for the Norman High School Science Building. The board approved the district's Gifted Education Programming Advisory Committee for the 1996-97 school year. Proposed revisions in Board of Education Policy 8230, Enrollment and Assignment of Students, were approved, and Leanne Kennedy, the Director of Planning and Evaluation, also presented for review to the board Policy 2753, Sanctioning of Organization and Associations. The board will vote on that particular policy next month. The 1996-97 audit report was presented by Stanley Hall, CPA of Mural Hall McIntosh and Company. The board accepted the audit. The final budget for public hearings was presented by Assistant Superintendent Wayne Warner. School laws of Oklahoma require that the board has a public hearing 15 days before the adoption of the final budget. The district's preliminary estimate of needs and the call for the annual election for 1997-98 were approved by the board. The annual election will be held on February 11, 1997. Superintendent Jim Gray presented a 3-year bond election campaign. Attorney Robert Pendarvis is reviewing the possibility of the district having one bond issue at the same time as our mill levy election in February instead of the traditional time in October. The board members discussed which dates are best for our bond issues. A date for the 1997 bond election will be discussed again at the November board meeting. An update on the secondary transition timeline was presented by Assistant Superintendent Dick Schiller. Barry Dixon, Child Nutrition Director for the district, proposed a 5-cent increase for full-price student meals due to the increase in the minimum wage, which was effective October 1st. The board approved the increase of 5 cents, which will be effective December 2nd of 1996. Elementary meals will go up from $1.30 to $1.35, and secondary school meals will change from $1.45 to $1.50. Diane Lewis, Director of Gifted and Testing, presented the Norman Gifted Education Plan. The board passed a resolution calling for the annual election on February 11, 1997, for the purpose of electing a school board office member for office number 2, which is presently held by Tom Clote, and submitting to the voters a 5 mil emergency levy, a 5 1/8 mil building fund levy, and a 10 mil local support levy, all for the fiscal year 1997-98. A resolution was also passed for the need for an additional 15 7/8 mil levy for the fiscal year 1997-98. The annual millage election is an annual vote, and it does not increase taxes, but must be voted by the people so that the school district can receive its regular operating money. The next regular school board meeting will be held on Monday, November 18th at 7 p.m. in the Administrative Services Center. The public is always invited to attend. The district's United Way drive is coming to a close, but any employee who still would like to donate to the drive can still do so. It's not too late. We're short of our 1996-97 goal and last year's donation. Total raised so far today is $28,954. Employees wishing to donate can turn in their money to the Public Relations Office at the Administration Building. We appreciate all of our employees' support in the United Way Drive. For Norman Public Schools, I'm Connie Blaney.
Thank you, Ms. Blaney.
Rex Suba is the president of the Professional Educators of Norman, or PEN, and he is one of the media teachers at the Norman High School. Now he will be joining us with his show Pinpoints.
Good evening. I'm Rex Suba, President of Professional Educators of Norman. This is another edition of Pinpoint TV. Let's see what's on tap for Penn in the upcoming weeks.
On October 22nd, Penn's open meeting was scheduled to nominate members of the Budget and Salary Committee. These 7 people will be installed by acclamation at the November Penn Exec meeting. Karen Thomas, Chuck Seepy, Herbert Skidmore, Dan Quinn, Mark Stahl, Nina Williams, and Maggie Milliken. Don't forget that meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, November 12th at 4 p.m. in the Norman High School Library. If you have more questions, please call the Penn office at 366-1148. Make sure that you get out and support the candidate of your choice. The election is just a week away. Don't forget about American Education Week. It is coming up, and we will be devoting some space on the Penn website to what is going on to celebrate or observe the 75th observance of American Education Week. American Education Week lasts from November 17th through 23rd. A proclamation should reach the sites after having presented the proclamation to recognize AEW at the October school board meeting. If you have any questions, call the Penn office again at 366-1148. The service project that was discussed at the October Executive Council meeting and discussed is beginning the application process. Please look for the sign-up sheets to participate at your site. Check with your Penn site representative. Special thanks to Marcia Crisip, Nancy Koplowitz, Jane McConnell, Diane Murphy, Robert Killian, and Jim Murphy for their hosting assistance at this year's Oklahoma Education Association. We always need people to help out at the local presentation of the convention so that we will have enough staff. to carry out all the tasks that need to be done. Thank you to all of you. And don't forget that the Penn website is always available for additional information. Remember that the Penn website will have much more content than we're able to fit into our segment here on Penn Point TV. Write down this URL and get online with Penn very soon.
Thank you for watching this edition of Penn Point TV. Have a good evening.
The middle schools here at Norman play one of the most important roles in a student's development.
During these students' middle school years, reality really starts to take its grip. Students start trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do.
At each of these schools, they have a variety of programs trying to teach the students how they should act and work with others. One of these programs is advisory.
Up next is a segment about the middle schools. This past year, a committee of middle school members got together and discussed how they wanted to communicate to parents of middle school kids the experience that they have. And this video is the result.
In the Norman Public Schools, expectations are high, achievements are many. Remarkable support flows from the community. The result is one of the most outstanding districts in the state. Between elementary school and secondary school, Norman Public School students attend middle school. During the middle school years, the students' academic and physical needs continue to be met by teams of teachers through classes and activities. The middle school years are a special time with special needs. It's the time-honored process called growing up. Middle schools in Norman serve the needs of the community's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. Middle-level curriculum is distinguished by offerings that stem from the unique characteristics and needs of young adolescents. The curriculum is challenging, integrative, and exploratory. The coursework is designed to address substantive issues and skills. Relevant curriculum involves students in activities that help them understand themselves and the world around them. Skills are planned to gear work to the middle school students' level of understanding. Teachers help students make connections between school experiences and their daily lives. Journals, conferences, and other vehicles provide students with opportunities to reflect on their experiences. This is an essential step toward taking charge of their own lives in the future. Exploring future possibilities is an important part of a middle-level education. This exploring enables the students to discover their particular abilities, talents, and interests. This self-knowledge helps each student to prepare for contributing to a vocation, a family, and to society in his or her adult life. Middle schools provide these young people with outstanding classes for their minds and bodies. But Norman's middle schools do more than just that. They offer programs and activities which also provide for the young adolescent's social and emotional growth at a time in their lives when it's needed most. Students in middle school are in the process of becoming social creatures. Their minds are filled with questions that ask repeatedly, how do I fit in? As students' lives outside their homes take on more importance, middle school becomes an important structured social setting. It's the place where they spend their entire day in the company of hundreds of others with whom they must find ways to interact successfully. Middle schools provide the opportunities for students to learn about themselves and others and begin to realize the importance of functioning together in a large group of people. Their casual interactions in the halls, at their lockers, at lunch, and in class are all opportunities to get to know and learn about others and themselves. Structured activities like assemblies, clubs, and athletic events give students the chance to work together and learn about functioning in a group setting. Finding ways to fit in is a preoccupation for many middle school students. Norman's middle school teachers realize how important learning to fit in can be to a student, and they strive to help their students find a workable balance between their classroom success and social growth. Helping students to find this balance is one of the largest challenges middle school teachers face because of the almost desperate need that students of this age have to socialize in their quest to find their place. A partnership of support between home and school that reinforces the need for balance between social and academic pursuits helps middle school students achieve success. Another important consideration in the education of middle school students is their need for emotional nurturing. The advisory program is designed to assist in a student's emotional growth. Advisories are small groups that meet every day to develop a sense of community for the students within the group. Advisories offer structured activities which provide for the emotional and social growth of the students under the guidance of a teacher familiar to the students. Social learning activities, group discussions, academic tutoring, and study time are some examples of activities during advisory meetings. In advisory, students have the opportunity to express their viewpoints and compare them with the opinions of others without fear of rejection or humiliation. Advisory is a place where students feel they can belong. Advisory teachers pay particular attention to the special needs of their students and can adjust group activities to address the students' needs. Advisory teachers can also take time to individually help a student with a concern or to help them solve a problem. The advisory teacher is an advocate for the student and a teacher the student can turn to in times of need. Norman Public Schools are proud of our middle-level education accomplishments. We ask you to join us in our continuing efforts to bridge the gap between elementary and high school. Our students are important to us. You are important to us. We can't do without you. We'll see you at school.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. For Lawrence Bothwell, I'm Amanda Patterson.